Hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. How are you all doing? I hope you're all having a wonderful day, wonderful week, a wonderful month. It's currently pretty rainy and doomy and gloomy here in Western Australia, so as much as I'm enjoying it, it is a little bit hard to do a lot of things. So, a lot of constraints on what we can do here. And unfortunately, the only thing that people like to do when it is bad weather is, of course, go to a place that has a roof and you won't get wet. So a shopping centre. So everyone seems to be congregating there, which makes going to the shops a lot of fun. But yeah, so the last week here has been pretty crazy with just people adjusting to the rain and kind of figuring out how to drive again in the rain. So that's been fun. But the reason I was going on that tangent was because I've tried to record this video like maybe 3 or 4 times now, and every time I do, the intro gets like obliterated with someone honking super loudly or someone speeding past. There was someone trying to do a little bit of a drift at the roundabout because it's been raining, so it's a little bit slippery, and that's all really loud where I'm situated in the house. So yeah, I've had to restart this video a couple of times, but alas, here we are, and it's really awesome to be back in front of the camera and talking to you guys. I hope you're all going well, and I thought for today I could do a little bit of a story time / ramble about all the bands and the bands I've seen and the concerts and festivals I've been to. Some of them have some pretty good stories to them. All of them are obviously awesome because seeing live music is amazing. But yeah, there's some specific concerts where either something happened or I was a dumbass and young, so I did something stupid, but all lovely notes of my youth, so I thought I would share a bit of that, and also a bit of the memorabilia I collected along the way. I'm fairly sentimental when it comes to this kind of stuff, so I've collected ticket stubs, drumsticks, hats, t-shirts. Some of them have got signatures on them from the band members, so yeah, just thought I would share some of these stories with you. To start it off, I did try and do it in a bit of a chronological order because my memory's fried, and if I don't kind of do it from start to finish, everything's just very jumbled, and then I'll probably tell you guys the same story again and again. So I thought we could start from when my first concert, and that was actually really cool. My first concert was a band called the Parlotones, which is a South African band, and it was around 2007, so it would have been for my, I think, 11th or 12th birthday party. I really liked the band. They were playing a show in our city, so my parents for my birthday bought me and 4 of my friends tickets to go and see the show. It was amazing. I really enjoyed this band when I was younger. I thought they were really weird and unique, and I thought that was cool. Their music's also just kind of I want to say a mix between just like pop, rock, and maybe like indie rock. So it was pretty decent, and I really enjoyed seeing them, and they were relatively big in South Africa, but not worldwide or anything. So my dad actually which was cool. Yeah, like it's like a core memory, you know. So that was like my first experience with seeing live music, and I guess being fully immersed in the music because I enjoyed it and I wanted to be there. Like I definitely seen live music before, like at bars and pubs, like when I went to restaurants with my family and stuff, but that was the first show I actively wanted to go to, and yeah, it was just a really cool experience. I actually, my dad was pretty cool with all this kind of stuff. He would always like print and laminate posters for me to take to these events so we could get signatures from the band members, and I actually ended up doing that and getting all of their signatures, and I searched so hard and I could not find I couldn't find the poster that I got, so I was a little bit devastated about that, but it is what it is, and yeah, still a wonderful memory. So that was, I think 2007. So then I think, just by the way, I'm reading notes that I have left myself because I literally, like I said, I needed to chronologically put this stuff together, otherwise I just would not tell it in a way that made sense. So that was, my only concert when I was in South Africa. I was pretty young. South Africa was a pretty dangerous place, so I didn't go to many concerts. My dad used to be the security guard and like bodyguard for a lot of the bigger artists who used to come to South Africa, but I was never able to go because he was always working. But he did. He was a bodyguard for Maroon 5, Rod Stewart, Lionel Richie. I think those are the only three I can remember. I don't know if he actually did any more than that, but those are like the three main ones I remember. He got photos with all of them, and yeah, it was really cool. But my dad's always been into music pretty heavily. Same with my mum really, but my dad's always been in bands since he was like, a teenager really. So I've got a passion for like music and playing instruments and watching live music, and I think it's come from my parents. It's just been really cool. But yeah, so moved to Australia. I didn't really get into much for the first couple of years of being in Australia because it was very much just about settling in and building a new life, and at that point going out and seeing shows and concerts was not on the top of my to-do list, obviously, as like a young teenager who's just moved to another country. But I think eventually like I ended up getting back into like not listening to music, because I was always listening to music, but like re-engaging in live music. And around 2012 I started going to gigs with one of my best friends from high school, and our first show was Dream on Dreamer, which is, I would say, like a heavy metal, like heavy metal kind of thing, but it's more screamo heavy metal. Sorry if I'm disrespecting anyone by saying heavy metal. I know there's some people that are very no, I don't want to say sensitive, but very particular about their brands, their genres of music, so no disrespect to anyone. But yeah, I like Dream on Dreamer. My first introduction to them was a cover they did of 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton, I think her name is, but it's that song from White Chicks where Terry Crews is like, and I need you, that one. If you don't know, I just made myself look like an idiot, and that's fine, but if you know that song, that song's pretty iconic from that era, and Dream on Dreamer did a cover of it, obviously in a screamo heavy metal kind of genre, and I loved it. Like I absolutely frothed it. So I was stoked when I found that. I was stoked when I started listening to their other songs. They still are an incredible band. So they came to Perth, and my mate and I went to see them. It was at a relatively small gig. It was a relatively small gig at a pretty small venue, and it could maybe fit like 100 or 200 people max. Like if it was fitting any more, like we were like basically. But it was potentially one of the best shows I've ever been to. The energy was so alive and everyone was just so eager to see this band. The band was also really lovely, really down to earth. Completely not what you expect, obviously, when you listen to like heavier music, but it was awesome. And from that gig, I got this cool little souvenir, which is the drumstick that was actually used during that show. Which, as you can see, it's been damaged. I think someone else got one of the sticks that actually snapped in half, which would have been awesome, but this is, I will not and could not complain about this. But yeah, so I managed to get this drumstick from the drummer, and also got his signature, which is, rough, but it's pretty old, like it's from 2012, so it's 14 years old, But, so, Dream On Dreamer is the band. And then signature from the drummer. Oh, just got a piece of wood in my finger, bro. Yeah. Pop that away. So this was it was really good, and it was really awesome to talk to the boys. I got this, and I got a Dream On Dreamer, believe it's a baseball hat, and I got the rest of the band to sign that. Oh, it's a snapback. I don't know why I said baseball hat. We got a snapback there. Is a baseball hat a snapback? Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know enough about clothing apparel. But yeah, as you can see, I've not really worn it heaps because it's just kind of a souvenir. But it's these caps also kind of make my ears come out real funny like, so I tend not to wear them, but I didn't want to wear it anyway because I obviously don't want to get rid of the signatures any more than they already have, which is crazy because these just live in a souvenir box, really. At the time of me seeing Dream On Dreamer, I believe their lead singer was a guy named Marcel, and he was awesome. He had the biggest stretches in his ears, I'm almost so sure you could stick a small child's hand through the actual space. It was insane. But yeah, so I think I will just keep tapping and making noises with this while I talk. Might be a good way to make some sounds, so it's not just me yapping away. But I ended up going to so many shows, in between the years of 2012 and 2016. It was probably some of the most awesome times of my life, and pardon, I definitely happy I ended up doing that, because I've got a bit of anxiety, so I don't really like to do those things, but worth it. But yeah, so Dream On Dreamer. And then there was a pretty small artist who I believe he used to just do covers actually, and then he started doing his own music. His name is D at C. D at C. So just the letter D at C. I really liked his voice. He's got like an angelic voice, and he did a lot of acoustic covers. So I remember the show. It was at the same venue that the Dream on Dreamer gig was at, which, by the way, just for ease, the venue was called YMCA HQ, so just YMCA headquarters, and we just used to call it HQ. So for the purpose of this and this video, just so you know, HQ is that venue. So it was at that venue, and like I said, the venue was pretty small, so not a lot of people, but also enough people to make it look packed, which is nice for the smaller artists. So although DHC wasn't very big, the turnout was pretty massive, and because it was acoustic, everyone was really chill. And I actually remember everyone just sitting on the floor of this venue while he sat on like the stage that was a little bit higher, and he just sat on the floor with his guitar and sang songs. It was really intimate, but also really fun. He definitely gave all of his woman fans and his lady fans everything they wanted, because he was a definite like heartthrob. The ladies definitely frothed him, and I can see why. Like, he was incredible. But yeah, he did a good job. So that was I think that was around 2013 maybe. And then I started not getting into it, but I started feeling confident enough to go to, I would say, heavier shows, but I think just more popular, big, heavier shows. So I went to D's Nuts, which they were relatively big back in the day, but I don't know if they're even out and doing things anymore. Amity Affliction, Law Dispute, and Piano Become the Teeth. Being as an Ocean. Like The Ghost Inside, Parkway Drive, The Story So Far. I went to Soundwave 2013, where I got to see Blink-182 and Linkin Park. That was incredible, especially seeing Linkin Park before Chester Benningfield passed away. That's literally just an experience that people just can't get anymore. And obviously, rest in peace, Chester Benningfield. That's devastating what happened, but just I was devastated when I heard the news about him passing, because I grew up on Linkin Park. My mum was a massive Linkin Park fan, and I just remember her playing it all the time, and that was a pretty big influence on me and my musical taste. So I think for her and I, we always wanted to see them live together, but she just didn't want to come to a full festival to see one band. So we were always kind of like, I've seen them once. They're definitely worth doing again. So if they ever came back to Australia, we would definitely do it. And then he passed away, and that was a bit devastating, because I think my mum really liked Chester Benningfield, and loved what he gave to Linkin Park. And don't get me wrong, I don't think there's anything wrong with the new lead singer and vocalist, but it's just different. But it was an absolute I want to say an honour to see Linkin Park with Chester Benningfield in it. I think I also got to see Offspring and Paramore at this concert at Soundwave, with Sleeping with Sirens and Pierce the Veil, Memphis Mayfire, Of Mice and Men, Confession, Bullet for My Valentine, Cypress Hill. I think yeah, I think that was the main ones. That festival was a little crazy though. I was not very well mentally, so the not self-sabotaging, but the at-risk kind of behaviour that I was probably exhibiting at that time was not great. I was, dabbling in some illicit substances and being a little bit irresponsible with my well-being, both physical and mental. And while I was at this festival, I ended up getting approached by some random guy who just was like, "Oh, do you want this pill?" And I was stupid enough to say yes to it. And it was, luckily enough, nothing too crazy. It was just MDMA, but from all the horror stories that you hear of people taking, drugs that they don't know what are in them and all that kind of stuff, it was a really, really, really stupid decision on my part. And I'll give myself some credit, well not credit, but some grace, I guess, because it was 13 years ago and I was not in a good headspace, so definitely not doing the best things in terms of myself, but I see that now, and I was lucky enough to not be affected any more than just have a really bad come down for the next couple of days. But yeah, moral of that story is that don't do drugs without knowing what's in them and if they're safe. I am not the type of person who is a say no to drugs person. I actually believe in harm minimization and, safe use of drugs. I feel like if adults are going to use narcotics and illicit substances, no amount of say no to drugs and fear-mongering is going to keep them away from it. But what we could do is really educate people on the right way to do things and the safest way to do things, and providing that education around harm minimization, what to do if you feel like the drugs are not good and you've taken them anyway and you're having an overdose. It's definitely a sensitive topic, and I know some people will disagree with me for whatever reason, and that's fine. Always open to having these conversations, but from my past and what I've gone through and what I've seen happen to people, drug addiction's a lot bigger than just people wanting to get a high and have some fun. Yes, there are some people who have that and they are lucky enough to not be affected long term by drugs, but the main users of drugs are not well and not supported, and the drugs are a coping mechanism. So teaching people how to do it safely, giving them resources, educating them, it helps with the connection, it helps with the stigma, and that's important in anything that we need to do with helping people. The main thing is to try and get rid of the stigma. People will not feel comfortable going for help and reaching out if there is that stigma in the world on how we feel about people who use drugs and, them being lesser in society, which I do not agree with. But anyway, tangent. All I want to say is, if you're underage, don't do drugs. It is stupid. Your brain's developing. You don't need that type of knockback, especially when life's doing enough. But when you are an adult, and if you choose to dabble in drugs, 1, hope everything is okay for you. 2, be safe about it. Do drug testings if you can. Make sure you know what's in it. Make sure you know how to deal with, if you don't handle the drug well, make sure you maybe have someone who isn't using substances to babysit you. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be like babysitting, just watch out, keep an eye out for you. Just maybe provide a little bit of that care to yourself if you're going to do these at-risk things. And obviously this is said with hindsight, because I was not doing that when I was young and being a stupid, but I'm lucky enough to have made it out relatively unscathed and relatively stable. So I think it's important to share these stories and to share that awareness to lessen the stigma. People who use drugs aren't bad people. They might make and do really bad things in order to fund that addiction, but it is way deeper than that. also don't want to invalidate anyone who's had really negative experience with drug users, because I understand that they can cause just so much damage. But yeah, don't do drugs. After Soundwave, I think I kind of started going back to uni and didn't really have much time and or money to go and see a lot of gigs, so there were kind of a few far and few between. Shared. But the ones that I did get to go to were spectacular, so I'll just run you through a quick list of them while maybe going through, some of my... So I am pretty sentimental, and these are just some of the ticket stubs that I have managed to keep in the years of visiting or going to see concerts. So this is from Wednesday, the 4th of September 2013. The ticket was $25 plus the booking fee. It was an all-ages show, and the doors opened at 5:30 p.m. and this was for Being as an Ocean. Being as an Ocean. Now, Being as an Ocean are another pretty heavy metal or screamo band. I really liked their music. I loved the emotion in it. It was very, there's some of their songs that are like devastating, like breakup songs, but poetic. And the band really did those songs justice when they performed them. I remember the lead singer literally being on the floor with us, like in the fetal position on the ground, screaming into the microphone while we're all just like on top of him and just yelling the song with him. I get goosebumps just talking about it now, because it's just like, it was such a surreal experience to just have such a strong shared common passion with everyone in that room at that moment. Like, we're all so different and we've all got such different lives, but in that like 5 minutes where that band was playing that song and everybody loved that song, it was like, really, it's a moving experience to be that, to feel that much energy from not just yourself but everyone else in the room. I love it. Live music, I think that's why I love live music so much, is that it's so much passion and so much just energy, where people are just there to watch and to spectate and be in awe of their interests and these people who are performing. Spectacular. But so 2013 is when this ticket stub is from. It's insane. I've even got some of these still, but thank God I'm a bit more sentimental than I guess than I thought I would ever be. There was, I'm really bummed I didn't get the physical tickets to this one, but Fleetwood Mac performed in Perth, Western Australia in 2019, and that was possibly the best concert I've ever seen in my life. I would do that again in a heartbeat. I would pay thousands of dollars to see Stevie Nicks perform again. I don't think Lindsey Buckingham was touring with them for this concert, so I would love to see that again. Like, I would love to see Stevie perform with Lindsey. I know there's beef there, but like, just the history and the way they perform together, it's spectacular, and I would love to see that. Like, I've only ever seen it through live recorded concerts that you can purchase and watch, but spectacular. I have no other words for it than just, I would love to see that live, and I would pay good top dollar for it. I just wanted to do an honourable mention, because this isn't necessarily music, but the main premise of this was the music side of it. So to see the Star Wars Empire Strike Back Symphony. So basically, the West Australian Symphony Orchestra was playing the soundtrack and the score of the movie while the movie played. Amazing. Like, it was so freaking cool. So that was me and my best friend who went, and I actually was stunned. The music in the movie is incredible. We know that. John Williams, love him. Hearing it live is something else. Like, it added so much more to every scene. Like, there was more tense and like real like nervous moments where you didn't know, you knew what was going to happen, but because of the live orchestra, it just added so much, so many layers to a movie we've already seen a million times, you know. But yeah, so this was worth an honourable mention, because I did think that, you know, although it's a movie, it was around the music of the movie. And they actually do that quite often, yeah, where they'll have a movie and they'll do the Western Australia's, like, I think it's orchestra, yeah, symphony orchestra, will play the soundtrack and the score of the movie while the movie plays. I think they did a couple of Harry Potters, they've done multiple Star Wars, yeah, so it's really good. And if any of your cities ever do anything like that, I would say it's worth a watch. Alright, so I'll move away, I think, from my like heavier stuff now. Oh, except for one actually, because I've got these ticket stubs as well. Might as well show you. But this was for a show last year, March. So March, I think it's 12th. Yeah, Wednesday, the 12th of March, 2025. Perth headline show, Balance and Composure. So I've been a huge fan of Balance and Composure since I was maybe 14 or 15, and because they're an American band who are not small by any means, but definitely bigger in America than they are in Australia, and Australia is unfortunately very expensive to come and tour in. Like, a lot of the time bands will actually just skip out a lot of the Australian states and go to, say, just Melbourne and Sydney, because those are the really like popular ones for, I would say, cultural arts or anything like that. So yeah, Perth definitely gets excluded a lot, and I never got the opportunity to see Balance and Composure in the few handful of times that they decided to come to Australia. So when I saw that they were doing a tour and they were coming to Perth, I didn't even wait like to book tickets really. I just booked them, and I was like, whoever's coming is coming, good for you guys, but I'm going to this. So luckily enough, my partner and I got to go, and it was, yeah, once again another pretty surreal experience, once again just because of the energy and the vibe that everyone was feeling. Like, it's nice to have that shared interest. And I guess not have to worry about anything else coming up, or, you know, it's just that and the music and everyone there enjoying it, which is, I couldn't ask for anything more. So yeah, Balance and Composure. I would recommend this band if you are into like punk rock, punk, but like maybe not like pop punk. I would say pop punk. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely indie pop punk. So, oh, one more ticket stub. This is like my reminder. So this is a concert I went to with one of the same best friend actually that I went to go and see the Star Wars thing with. He's actually done, I did a video with my friends like years ago, and he was in it. His name's Ryan, so if you at all remember Ryan, that's the bloke who I've gone to most of these concerts with. So this was all day. All Day is a pretty, actually I don't know if he's big anymore in like just Australia, but he was pretty massive in Australia and I think a little bit in America. And he ended up doing a tour with Nicole Miller and Morat, which are another two like Australian artists, I'm pretty sure. It was a really cool show. It was at the Astor Theatre, so it was seated, which was a little bit different. I'm not usually used to being seated and going to shows, or I wasn't at that point. Now that I'm older, I'm used to it. But yeah, so it was the first seated show I'd ever been to for music, and it was a little different because I wanted to get up and dance and sing, but there were people behind me that weren't standing up, so I'm being rude by standing up in front of them. So there was always that bit of that, like, oh, I'll get up and have a little boogie, and then I'll sit down and, you know, go on. But yeah, it was just gonna have a sip of some sugar-free lemonade. You know, the show was really cool, even though I had to sit down. But I thought I would do a quick little show of the shirt I got from the Amity Affliction with their signatures. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is when they had only 4 band members, and I'm pretty sure it was Joel Birch, Orange Stringer, Troy Brady, and Ryan Burt. This band was potentially my favourite band for years. I even gave a letter to the lead singer, which I regret doing now, because I didn't need to trauma dump on this man and tell him how he saved my life with his music, but I'm hoping he never read it, truly. But yeah, it was really cool to meet them and to just have a quick chat and say, you know, thank you for your music and thank you for everything you continue to do, because they're pretty big like mental health advocates. You know, really like to talk about the importance of focusing on your mental health and potentially going sober to do so, because the lead singer Joel Birch went sober after he was very suicidal and depressed from, you know, mental health and mental illness, and the drugs and alcohol were not helping, so he went sober, and that basically saved his life. And I think that's a pretty good message, you know, not that, you know, going sober will save your life, but to do the thing that will save your life. Let go of the thing that will help you live a long and fulfilling life. It's going to be hard, a lot of hard work, but, you know, it's worth it. But yeah, so that's just a little piece of memorabilia from my days in going to shows and concerts. I've only really gone to like a couple of shows in the last couple of years. I think I like to try and go to at least like 1 or 2 a year now, because they are pretty expensive, and it's the world we're living in at the moment. It's really not something I can just, you know, prioritize all the time, but it's certainly something that, you know, you save for, and I just have to be really smart about the bands I want to see. For example, last year we went to see Doechii, Kendrick Lamar, Dominique Fike, and Schoolboy Q at the Spilt Milk Festival. But then Zara Larsson announced a tour for this year, but I couldn't go because I had already spent all my money on the Spilt Milk Festival. So, not that I'm bummed about it, but it's just, you know, I would love to go to all of them if I busy roads today, apologies. But yeah, I really like his storytelling style and his openness and his authenticity, I guess, with telling his stories. He's very aware, I guess, of his shortcomings and where he could kind of do better and what he wants to do better. I think that's admirable. So, let's get back onto the stick. I'll just start wrapping this up, but a couple of the other shows I've been to are Doja Cat, which my partner and I saw in Amsterdam in 2024, and then also last year with my friends in Perth because she was touring Australia as well, so that was really fun. She's an incredible performer, really good dancer and like singer, and like she just the stamina to do it both at the same time for that long, impressive. And she's really attractive, so you know you gotta appreciate that too, but respectfully. She was really fun to see. I enjoyed her, and I would probably go and see her again if I could. But I think if also there was Tame Impala that we went to see. Hosier. He's better live than he is in studios, I reckon. Like, I preferred him live. I think what he was doing to the music was actually better. I feel like he wants to be a lot more rock than what maybe his label allows him to be. I don't know. But, yeah, he added so much more rock tones and sounds to the songs than they are on, from the studio releases. So that was really interesting to see, and I really enjoyed it. I'm trying not to touch the autograph part too much. Okay, who else? So I think that's everyone I've seen, and there is a couple of honourable mentions that I wanted to kind of highlight because I am going to a show this year. I'm going to be seeing Illy, who was an Australian rapper, and he's doing his 10th anniversary of a album that came out, 10 years ago. So 10-year anniversary, sorry. And I've loved this album since he released it, so it was really exciting to see him kind of doing it. So I'll be going to that. And Zara Larsson and Hilary Duff have announced tours for Australia this year, but they all sold out pretty quickly, so I will not be going to those, but those would have been cool to go to. Noah Kahan or Kahan, the pretty up and coming singer from America, he has announced a tour in Australia, but he's not coming to Perth. And the time that he's going to be here in Australia is a notoriously expensive time for travel because it is over the AFL Grand Final weekend, which means that everything is just triple the amount that it normally would be. Everything's sold out years in advance. Like people book this stuff out years in advance. So I didn't really have much of a choice. I just couldn't go. Besides, unless I wanted to fork out thousands of dollars, which I don't really. There was also Sam Barber and Cameron Whitcomb that came to Perth not long ago, and I missed out on those tickets, and I was pretty devastated about that. But that's okay. We will hopefully see Sam Barber or Cameron Whitcomb again in the future. Lainey Wilson, is another one that I missed out on, unfortunately. I just couldn't get the time off of work, actually, so I had to make that sacrifice, but she's a pretty new and up-and-coming artist, and I truly hope that she'll come back to Australia. Even if she doesn't come back to Perth, I'll fly to see her somewhere else. There's a high chance she goes to Queensland or Brisbane, because they have the country music festival there every year. So hopefully she's there. song you want your kids to like, but it was a good song, and I loved the band. So yeah, not being able to go to them was a bit of a bummer. But once again, you know, you just miss out sometimes, and that's okay. But yeah, I think that's about it, if I'm being honest. Hopefully I will eventually have more to add to that list. There's also a high chance I've just forgotten some because, yeah, like I said, between 2013 and 2016, I was going to a show maybe every weekend. So a lot of them were local bands, but you know, some of them were, I would say, pretty big in the Australian scene. So I'm bummed that I can't remember all of them, but if ever I can make up another list and remember all the other people and all the other bands, I will definitely do another one to this. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you wanna chat about the music and the bands you've seen, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment. I would love to hear what artists are your favourites, and if you've ever had any fun experiences at concerts, if you've ever had any sketchy experiences at concerts and festivals. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. I can't thank you all enough for the love and the support. It does really mean a lot to me, and I just feel more motivated every time I see your lovely comments to just keep doing these. And not that I'm doing it for you guys, I'm definitely doing this for myself because it really helps with like relaxing and being mindful. But it's nice to know when and if I am able to bring some of that same relaxation to other people.